point is expressed by the Democratic Convention, which consists of the various opposition parties. Their main demand is to give all Moldovan residents Romanian citizenship and to take specific measures to accelerate the unification of Romania with Moldova. Moldovan President Snegur is being accused of betrayal of national interests. One more point of view. Today, Romanian President Iliescu made an appeal to all political parties to maintain caution and restraint in expressing their positions on the events in Pridnestrov. The Russian Foreign Minister Kozyrev has finished his visit to Brussels. He was participating there in the meeting of the Council of North Atlantic Cooperation. He also held negotiations with the chairman of the European Committee Council, Jacques Delors. Today, he had negotiations with U.S. Secretary of State James Baker on issues of economic development. The first important stage in the primary marathon for the U.S. presidential elections has come to an end. Super Tuesday, it's called by the American press. 11 states simultaneously held primaries and caucuses. Republicans and Democrats voted separately for their candidates for the White House. The Republican elections were never in doubt. The incumbent President George Bush won in all the states which held voting yesterday. The Democratic picture also became more clear. There is now a two-way battle between Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton and former Massachusetts Senator Paul Tsongas. Today's primary elections have made Clinton the clear front-runner. Along with elections, many polls were conducted today. Americans were asked who they would like to see in place of George Bush in the White House, Clinton or Tsongas. 2 weeks ago, Bush led both Democratic contenders in the opinion polls. This time, the answers were more equal. Polish forces, because of the great budget deficits in 1992 and the reductions in defense expenditures, are looking for other ways to make money, including renting Polish military training facilities to foreign armies. This was declared today by the Polish deputy defense training official. The president of the country, Lech Wałęsa, will have to still discuss the issue of the withdrawal from his country of CIS forces. Will President Wałęsa accept Yeltsin's visit to invitation to come to Moscow? If so, when? This is the question on the minds of many observers here in Warsaw. They believe the Polish president has specially postponed his visit to Moscow until agreement is reached on the conditions for withdrawal of former Soviet forces. This month, the last Russian tank is to leave Poland. But what to do with the great weapons accumulations which have built up over 40 years in preparation for an attack on Western Europe? Agreements must be made to regulate the material and financial situation here. Poland expects huge compensation for damage to the environment caused by the Soviet army, but Russia believes these sums are inflated. Another issue concerns 700 military bases, which Poland does not wish to take control of again. Polish Foreign Minister Skubiszewski met with Russian Foreign Minister Kozyrev in Copenhagen and said he is willing to sign a treaty. But the presidential palace still says nothing about a visit to Moscow. Jordan King Hussein met with Canadian Prime Minister Brian Mulroney today. According to officials, Jordan needs help from Canada because its economy suffered great damage during the Persian Gulf War. After the negotiations, Mulroney said that his government will consider expanding help to Jordan. The UN Security Council had consultations on disarmament in Iraq and destroying its potential for mass destruction today. The head of the Iraqi delegation, Tariq Aziz, said that his delegation came to the UN on a goodwill mission in order to present evidence on Iraq's implementation of the UN Security Council resolutions. However, the head of the UN Special Commission on Iraq said that there is no evidence that the Iraqi leadership is making efforts in this direction. President Perez of Venezuela has made big changes in the composition of his government, simultaneously nominating 7 new ministers. The Venezuelan administration is doing whatever it can to liquidate the consequences of February 4th's failed coup in Venezuela. The main problem is the dissatisfaction of the population with the government's economic price policy, price increases, and corruption in the highest levels of government. The next parliamentary elections in Great Britain will be held on April 9th. This news was given to journalists today by British Prime Minister John Major after an audience with British Queen Elizabeth II, who gave her agreement to holding new parliamentary elections. This morning in Beethoven Hall at the Bolshoi Theater, there was a press conference by Galina Vishnevsky. On March 15th, she will mark her 45th anniversary in show business on the stage of the Bolshoi Theater. All the proceeds from this event will be given to a pension fund for Bolshoi Theater veterans, which she has created. The fund will also receive all proceeds from the publication of her autobiography in Russia. If you have read Galina Vishnevsky's book, you remember how she left this stage 17 years ago, ending the happiest years of her life. She never felt any evil or bad will while performing on this stage, and at today's press conference, she told about the stage again. I came out on the stage, I felt the smell of this theater, which is so familiar to me even after 17 years. All the other theaters of the world are one thing, but the Bolshoi Theater is something else. The director of the Bolshoi Theater gave Galina a pass to enter the Bolshoi Theater at any time. She said she still had her old one, and she expressed her happiness that many Russian artists and singers are coming back to their new country. But other singers and artists are leaving the country. A person should experience everything. A person knows how everything happens, what's going on, and makes evaluations about what's happening and what he or she should do. We have to suffer through all of this. When you came out on this stage, you said that you forgive the people who emigrate from this country. Yes, of course I do. Are there things in life which cannot be forgiven? Betrayal. So you believe that this theater has not been betrayed? Yes, that's what I think. Shaliapin didn't come back to this stage, but I came back. I have this feeling that all of this feelings of offense have moved away. MMM means lowest prices in rubles and a guarantee against any defects. Today, goods from MMM are always a goodbye. Today, literally 2 hours ago, the representatives of the National Olympic Committees of the Commonwealth in Georgia returned from Lausanne, where they had met with the president of the International Olympic Committee, Samaranch. They have been given the right to participate in Barcelona as a unified team, but this was not uncontroversial, but common sense prevailed. Since 1989, we in Georgia have not participated together with the other former Soviet teams, but this time we decided not to make a confrontation, and this time we congratulate all of our athletes, and we have decided that if on March 26th it is decided that Georgian athletes will participate in the Olympics, we will be happy to join the unified team. Good evening. 2 rounds remain until the end of the Super Chess Championship in Linares, Spain, but the victor has already been determined. Garry Kasparov, the world champion, beat Yusupov playing black today and has 8.5 points, a point and a half above his closest competitor, Timon. In Commonwealth sports news, Kiev Dynamo beat Bishkek in basketball, guaranteeing itself the gold medal. There were 2 rounds in Group B play in the Commonwealth Hockey Championships. Tractor and Spartak played to a 1-1 tie. The Muscovite team will play Moscow Dynamo in the semifinals. The second match was between the Wings of the Soviets and the Army team. In the first period, Butsayev opened the scoring, and for a period and a half, the Wings of Soviets were unsuccessful in their attempt to tie the score. Vostrikov scored the second goal, and all hockey fans know they can see the final period on Channel 1 at 11:20 p.m.